What's good, YouTube? Steph here, and I'm unscripted this time because I'm going to be doing a reaction video. I'm going to give you my initial unvarnished reaction to a video from the channel The Prog Corner, which I've watched a couple of times before. I can't remember exactly what. This video is a year old, and it's called the Top 25 Japanese Prog Bands. Came across it while I was just looking for other Japanese prog that I might not have heard of before. In my investigations in the past, I've come across maybe about a half a dozen Japanese prog bands. There, Kenso, of course. Also got Ars Nova, which I have the Musea pressing, or Musea edition of their Book of the Dead, and B. Kyoran. Just started life as a King Crimson cover band, and I have their album Violent Music, also from Musea. And other Japanese prog bands I've already come across are Happy Family, which I like a lot, Gerard, The Outer Limits, and Belaphon. Those two I haven't heard much of. When I downloaded a bunch of MP3s on like Audio Galaxy and Napster, didn't come up with much of them, and what I did come up with actually ended up not being very playable. I'm gonna lose the hat. Just kind of going Japanese theme here. Got my deer hoof shirt and a Hello Kitty hat. So yeah, Outer Limits and Belaphon haven't heard much of. Heard Ruins few tracks when I listened to my Avant Prog Pandora station, and I've also got a CD by a group called Foxhole Commune, which the lead guy plays Chapman stick and bass, and the other constant member is the drummer. So that's about the limit of my pre-existing knowledge of Japanese prog, so I'm going to go ahead and watch Mr. Prog Corner's thing. Here we go.
Greetings, salutations, respect, and love. I'm Scott. You're in the Prog Corner. And
oh my God. He's got deer hoof records all lined up behind him. There's Apollo, there's Milkman, the same shirt I'm wearing here. There's the Fever 121614 live record. There's Friend Opportunity. Wow, and he's got Hello Kitty stuff up behind him too. And he's wearing a Sanrio shirt. Okay. That's so cool. On we go. Okay.
Hey, wow. The series continues, boys and girls. Prog around the globe. Today we're stopping in Japan, a country that is not really well known for its prog rock, but there is some amazing music that's been made in Japan over the last 50 years. They're probably best known for their exports of noise rock and the avant-garde Rio stuff, but there have been a lot of Zool bands come out of Japan, a lot of symphonic bands, neo-prog, a lot of jazz rock and fusion. There's even been a lot of electronic, psych, and punk bands coming out of Japan. So we're not talking about mono. They're more post-rock, I guess. We're not going to talk about baby metal. I know a lot of people want to talk about baby metal these days. Tomita, Kitaro, great.
I like baby metal.
Pioneers, Duran Gray, Stormu Yamashita, Baraka, KBB, Vermilion Sands, Psy, The Gazette, real good band. Yeah. Bandmade, those girls dressing around like Bandmade playing metal. But the last four that were not included, which really hurt me, Bondage Fruit didn't make it in. Really, really cool Zool band. Didn't make the cut. Mr. Sirius, they put out two really cool camel-inflected albums with the great Kazuhiro.
Camel's a band I still need to check into.
And the singer from Pageant, Hiroka Nagai, not on the list. Social Tension put out two really good albums in 1989 and 1990. Sounded a lot like ELP, didn't make the list. And finally, Acid Mother's Temple didn't make the list. 63 albums and they still couldn't make the list. I'm sorry, guys. At number 25, it's the great Ryo Okamoto.
Okay, yeah, from Spock's Beard, yeah.
He's got 5 solo albums out.
Yeah, haven't heard any of his solo stuff.
The reason the myth of the Masterpiece is the reason he's on this list. Absolutely incredible. He put out 3 albums in 1980, which is weird.
I'm writing these down as they come up.
To put 3 albums out the same year is bizarre, but he recorded them in 3 different continents. Yeah, Ryo Okamoto, just
cover,
a monster. Yeah. I love that guy at number 24.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Ryoichi Sakamoto and Yellow Magic Orchestra. Are they Prague? I'm not sure. I don't know, but definitely an electronic pioneer. They put out a whole bunch of really cool albums. Their number 1 rated record on Prog Archives is Technodelic. Yeah, they sound a little like a Japanese version of Kraftwerk. They reformed briefly in 1993 and put out another record, but YMO, really cool. Are they Prague? I don't know, but I love them. At number 23, it's Ground Zero. Yeah, this is a rock and opposition band formed in 1990. They put out 5 albums. They are led by Otomo Yoshihide. This dude's a solo artist who's put out like 27 albums on his own. Their number 1 rated album is Consume Red from 1997. It's 57 minutes of one long droning experimental piece. Really cool, turntables and samples with brass, very experimental, very strange noise rock. But I really like Ground Zero. And number 22, something a little bit more normal for your ears. How about Shingetsu? Band that put their debut album out.
I have heard some Shingetsu. Yeah, I've heard this record a couple of times. Yeah, I've come across this in my YouTube searching.
So they actually did make the cut. If you like Genesis, you're gonna like Shingutsu, Makota Kitayama. Some people call him the Japanese Peter Gabriel. If you like Mellotrons and 12-string guitars, Shingetsu's a really good band.
I like the Shingetsu that I've heard.
Yeah, this is another band that takes its cues from another one of the giants of the UK, and this is Bikyo Ran.
Yeah, okay, know them very well.
And influenced here in the number 21 spot here. They put out 6 albums, and I'm spotlighting Go On from 1995, their 3rd album. If you like guitars and saxophones and trumpets and
70s Red era King Crimson, that one
didn't break up after Red, but they put out a few albums between Red and Discipline. This is kind of where
violent music is not quite as King Crimson-ish.
Suma Kunio playing guitars and singing, very cool band at number 20. How about Typographica? Yeah, this is a band that put out 3 albums. It's Rio, rock and opposition, but they definitely have a strong symphonic backbone. With some Canterbury stuff in there. Piccio del Pazzo from Italy is kind of a reference point here. Maybe Henry Cow.
Yeah, I think I mentioned in my Kenso album ranking, I'm not that familiar with Canterbury.
Opera from 1997. If you like sax and trombones and experimental playfulness, you're probably going to like these guys a lot. At number 19, how about O-O-I-O-O? This is kind of a spin-off band from the Boredoms. You got Yoshimi Pee-wee.
Don't know the Boredoms.
The original member of the Boredoms. They started out as a fake band. They did a photo shoot, and I guess Pee-wee was asked to put together like a fake band for a photo shoot. It turned into a real band. It's all female.
That's a hell of an origin story.
Tribal drums. Very weird, like if the Go-Go's listen to tons of expansionist, experimental music. They put an album out all based on Japanese music. Their last album was based all around Indian music. But their best album was 2006 Taiga. These guys are on Thrill Jockeys, so they definitely got lumped in with a lot of the alternative and Indian, the hipster kid bands, so O-O-I-O-O comes in at 17 or 19. Okay. Yeah, number 18, let's get a little bit more in the symphonic vein with Midas. They dropped their first album in 1988 called
Also not familiar.
Clean Air. They put 6 albums out. They're lush, they're symphonic. They're formed in Osaka in 1982. They're led by Igo Uto on vocals and violin, and that violin is real prominent in their music and definitely makes you think of Daryl Way and Curved Air a little bit at times.
Gerard has a lot of
Mike's
violin,
very
I've
cool,
noticed, when the
traditional
stuff of theirs I've
symphonic
heard.
prog for you fools out there at number 17. Here's another female-dominated band. It's
Ars Nova, okay.
Yeah, imagine if ELP were all female and they wore S&M costumes. You know, these girls are wearing all their dominatrix
For all the
and they're looking all
for all
cute,
the ELP
playing
comparisons, I always thought they were more influenced by like Italian groups like PFM and Balletto di Bronzo.
Kumagai. Oh, she's
Keiko
a
Kumagai.
great keyboard player. I like all their albums, but I'm spotlighting their #1 rated album, which is The Goddess of Darkness from 1996.
Good record, but
If
I
you
think
like
The Book of the
ELP
Dead is their
and you
best.
like Japanese
And I like the
females,
Japanese
why
pressing
would
over
we like
the
Ars Nova?
Japanese release over the
Let's get weird with
Happy Family. Yes.
Oh yeah, this is a very notable band in the history of Zool music in Japan. They put out 3 albums.
I thought it was
their
pronounced
second
Soil.
album, Tosca was their highest rated one, came out in 1997. They're extravagant, they're aggressive, they're demented, kind of like if King Crimson met Magma.
Yeah,
before they dropped any albums out, they put
seriously heavy
sets out, which are in real big demand for collectors out there. But Happy Family, very cool. At number 15, one of the originators of the Japanese symphonic sound, it's Novella. These guys put out 8 albums. I'm spotlighting their 4th one, Sanctuary. This band was formed in 1980 in Osaka. They are led by Toshio
it's like a Brian Froud sort of character,
that formed Gerard,
that creature.
Tiro Sugu Hiroyama, who later on went on to form Tiro Symphonia, which we're going to probably be hearing something about those 2 bands here in a minute. Very symphonic, but with a hard edge to it. Novella was fantastic. At number 14, how about J.A. Caesar? I knew nothing about this guy a year ago. Thanks to some of my fantastic followers and subscribers.
Revolutionary Girl Utena. Utena is probably my favorite anime, and yeah, he wrote these heavy metal choruses of for when the characters fight sword duels. Really wild.
He's a composer.
Really wild, heavy songs with really bizarre, surrealistic lyrics, and
and they distilled it down into 40 minutes of greatness.
I think I've
found
one of his older albums too.
With all those Japanese features,
I think I've heard some of his older stuff, but I'm mostly familiar with his stuff for the Utena
every
anime.
album cover gave you a clue inside what the music might listen to. That's definitely one. At number 13, the aforementioned Teru Symphonia. Yeah, this is Terutsugu Hiroyama from Novella that we just talked about. They were formed in Osaka in 1983. They put out 7 albums out, and I'm spotlighting their first one, the self-titled album from 1985. It's neo-prog, but there's a lot of symphonic stuff going on here. I really like this band. It's a little indebted to Marillion, but a little bit more symphonic. The only thing that kind of mars these records by Terra Symphonia is the 80s keyboard sounds at times.
Interesting he's saying if it's more Marillion influenced, I would think, since Marillion is basically a Genesis clone, I thought I would say Genesis influence.
The Flower Traveling Band. Are they prog? Probably more psych than prog.
Sounds like a
definitely got
hippie
that
psych band.
Coast acid feel going on. So you do hear some Sabbath and some Led Zeppelin. Very blues oriented, but very raw. These guys.
I'm not that big on the blues anymore. I'm pretty much over the blues.
60s,
but I'd still give this. I'll give this band a look into.
They put one more out, but I am focusing on their classic 1971 album Satori. Just fantastic. If you like Zeppelin, you'll probably like Flower Traveling Band at number 11. Pageant makes the list. Yeah, this is a band that only put out 3 albums, but all 3 of them are really, really good. The best of them is La Mosaique de la Reverie from 1986. So yeah, this is 80s symphonic prog. I really do like it. Sometimes these guys get compared to Renaissance, and that comparison's fair. Maybe a little more symphonic and less medieval, I guess, than Renaissance. But they are led by Hiroko Nagai, who is the keyboard player and vocalist. She's fantastic. Their third album kind of veered more into Clan Ad territory, maybe Enya meets Kate Bush kind of stuff, but yeah, Pageant's fantastic. Check them out.
Okay.
At number 10, the Mighty Boredoms makes the list. Why wouldn't they make the list? Formed in Osaka in 1986 by Yamataka Ai. I am spotlighting their 1998 album Super AE. Post-hardcore meets cosmic space rock, noise rock, kind of like Sonic Youth, but you got krautrock influences going on here. There have been so many different versions of this band. I guess it's always Yamataka and somebody else, and you know, I don't know. OOIOO came from this band, spin-off from Boredoms, but definitely one of the weirdest, noisiest bands you're ever going to want to hear is Boredoms. They're really cool. At number 9, how about Gerard?
Gerard, okay, yep, I know Gerard.
Band led by Toshio Ogawa, who was the keyboard player in Novella. As Gerard, they put out 13 albums. The highest rated one is
Novella.
from 2002 called Size of the Water.
I don't know that album. I know Empty Lie, Empty Dream. I know Ruins of a Glass Forest and Fortress. I know a few other scattered tracks.
Really good too. Yeah, Gerard is
Funny he mentioned.
excellent.
Oh, there's Novella, number 15. Okay.
So. Kind of the reference point here. At number 8, it's the Far East
Family Band. I think
founded in
I've heard them in a
1972.
Japanese
All
prog
out.
mix that I found on
This
YouTube
band
earlier.
included the
Yeah.
great Kataro as one of its members. They put out 4 albums, and I'm spotlighting 1976's Parallel World. This album's amazing. It comes complete with a brilliant 30-minute title track. It's produced by Klaus Schultz. Yeah, this is a fantastic album where they kind of let some of the Pink Floyd influences, you know, fizzled out a little bit and a little bit more symphonic going on here. Far East Family Band, just fantastic. At number 7, it's Ruins, boys and girls.
Ruins,
Yeah,
okay.
You talk about a band that went through a lot of lineup
As I mentioned, I've heard a few of their
changes.
tracks
This
on
was always,
Pandora. Haven't heard a full
Yoshida
album.
Tatsuya and another person. They were always a duo, so there were 4 different lineups. 2 Ruins. They put out 17 albums.
Wow.
You guys were formed in 1985, and they're just insane. If you've ever heard Ruins, you know you've heard Ruins. Your life will not be the same. I'm spotlighting Symphonica from 1998 as their best album, but they're all good. They're all crazy. I mean, 17 albums. There's a lot of material to work through.
It is,
it's challenging music, but it's amazing music. At number 6, how about Outer Limits? Yeah,
Outer
if you
Limits,
like UK or King Crimson meets maybe the more delicate side of
As I mentioned, I wasn't able to find much of their stuff, so I don't have much of an impression of them.
Those mellotrons and a violin, that's really the primary instrument. You're going to like Outer Limits. Their best album is their first album, I think, Misty Moon from 1985, but their highest rated album is their 5th album, Strom to Light from 2007. Very orchestral, very beautiful, fantastic stuff. The vocals are mostly in Japanese, but they do some English singing too. Oh, yeah, here we go, boys and girls. It's time for the top 5 prog artists in Japan. At number 5, it's a jazz fusion artist who goes by the name of Hiromi Yuhara.
I am familiar with Hiromi. She is not prog. She is totally jazz.
She's a protege of Chick Corea.
Yeah.
Studied under him.
Fan of Chick as well. Yeah. Yeah. She's amazing. She's an absolute monster. I particularly like her Hiromi's Sonic Bloom. But not prog. No, definitely not. Totally jazz. Fusion and straight up jazz is what she is. I wouldn't put her on a prog list.
Hiromi's Sonic Bloom. 2 albums as that, including 2007's Time Control, which most people
yes,
is their best album. She's recorded as the
that album absolutely
project,
knocks. Yeah,
great Simon Phillips on drums.
Time Out's the best
this
track.
This girl is amazing. She's got chops for days. If you like jazz fusion with plenty of prog rock baked into the mix, you could do a whole lot worse than Hiromi Uhara. At number 4, oh, it's Asturias, boys and girls. It's Yo Ohiyama's band. He's recorded as Asturias. He's recorded as acoustic Asturias, electric Asturias. I guess he's kind of stuck on the electric Asturias last few albums, thank God. His #1 rated album is Missing Piece of My Life from 2015, but I really enjoy all his music. It's almost all instrumental. Mike Oldfield is probably the best reference point here. He started his music career in 1987, and the last album they dropped as Asturias was in 2019, album called Trinity. Really, really strong. I can highly, highly recommend Asturias if you like Mike Oldfield and you like, you know, old school symphonic prog with a lot of Japanese folk elements thrown in there. Just amazing. At #3, it's Yuka and Chrono Ship. Oh, this is a personal favorite of mine. Formed in 2009, led by Yuka Funakoshi, who was a pop singer, involved in a lot of J-pop stuff. And one day, one of her people, you know, manager or agent or somebody, dropped an ELP record on her desk and said, "Hey, check these guys out." And
I swear, Kenso had better be one of these last two. I mean, I'd personally put them at #1, but
Takashi Miyazawa, drummer Iko.
Of course, I haven't heard of most of the artists on this list.
Oh man!
See, so far he's named like 7 or 8 that I've actually heard of.
It was all right, but their second, third, and fourth albums amazing. Third, Planetary Chronicles from 2015 is their highest rated album. But I actually think I prefer 2018 Ship, but you can't go wrong with Yuka and Chrono Ship. Just amazing. The riffs these guys come up with, the melodies, they rock really, really hard. They're tight as can be. Oh, yeah, Yuka and Chrono Ship, man. Just incredible. At #2, yeah, this is a weird one. Koenji Hayake, or however you pronounce them.
Koenji Hayake.
Right. Yeah, this is Tatsuya Yoshida, who we just talked about a minute ago with Ruins, and his Zool band. He formed it in 1991.
Okay, so this is a Ruins offshoot, I guess?
They've only put out 5 albums, which is kind of surprising to me. Very Magma-y. Yeah, they're a Zool band, but they also...
I still haven't heard Magma. I don't think I've ever heard anything by Magma yet.
You can hear maybe some Primus in them. There's some playfulness going on.
Familiar with Mr. Bungle and Primus, though.
You know, just over the top and over your head. There's actually some melodies and stuff you can sink your teeth into with this band. Their highest rated album on Prog Archives is their second album, Viva Koenji, from 1997. And I am trying my hardest to get into this band. I swear I am. I do really appreciate what they're doing. But, you know, Zool isn't always at the top of my list. But I've got a band here at #1 that's going to blow your mind. Yeah, it's Kenso. Formed in 1974. Oh, man, these guys have 10 albums out.
I was going to be very upset if they didn't make the list at all.
Sometimes. So they are fusiony, but they bring tons of symphonic and neo-prog into what they're doing. There's a lot of Japanese elements. You know they're a Japanese band when you hear them. Even though they're playing traditional rock instruments. It's crazy how they do that. Their highest rated album is Fabulous Mirabilis de
Bombicosi Scriptus, yeah.
2002. Their last
I ranked that one pretty high. I think that one...
My favorite album from them is 1991's Yume no Oka, but I like all 10.
Yeah, I think I rated this one #3 in my album ranking. My top rating was Sparta.
Really I'm really hoping, you know, it's been 9 years since we've had a Kenso album, so maybe they'll come up with album #11 in 2023. We could hope so. But anyway, Japanese Prog is fantastic.
Not so far. Still that last one that I don't have on CD was their last record.
So much more out there that I have not heard. But this is my list of the top 25 prog rock acts from Japan through the years. I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to be going somewhere else next week. I wonder where we're going. Are we going
Very
to Brazil?
instructive.
Are we going to Norway? Are we going to France? Are we going to Germany? Where are we going, man? I don't know. It's going to be fun. Anyway, I love you guys. I hope you had a great weekend. Have a great week, and I will see you guys
Okay, I just noticed he has Fragile up there. That's not a Japanese album.
God save him. Save that king and Camilla, too.
All right, so That's oh, Rio. I've heard of Rio, but I haven't actually heard his solo stuff. Just his work with Spock's Beard. So yeah, Kenso, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then like 8, 9, 10. So about 10 out of the 25 on the list are artists I've actually heard of. So I've got a lot of homework here. I've got quite a homework assignment, a lot of groups to check into. I'll have to review this video, check out which albums those, because I only wrote down the artist names. I didn't write down the recommended albums, and I'll have to check into those anyway. Yeah, that was very instructive, and I guess that's all I really got. If you haven't seen it yet, I've got an album ranking. I think my second video that I put up was my second video since I actually put a purpose to this channel was to album ranking of Kenso records. So check that out. I'll link that in the description, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.